How do you become more confident before you need to speak in an important scenario, whether it be an interview, a speech, or a presentation? Well, I'm going to give you 4 tried and true techniques that I've used for years that have helped me become way more confident and perform at my best in those situations. The first thing that I would love to tell you is gift, not expectation. That means that you're giving your audience a gift. It's about them. It's not about you. It's not about the expectations you're putting on yourself. It's about the gift you're giving to your audience. Not about you looking polished, professional, put together, but rather them getting what they need from you. Because when you think about it from their perspective, you will also benefit. So let me give you an example. Here's what I do. I always write this template. I want my audience to feel blank about blank in order to blank. I want you to write this down. I want my audience to feel blank about blank in order to blank. Now, what does that mean? Well, this feel is what we call the emotional gift. And that is an emotion you want your audience to have by the end of the time you've talked. So it might be excited. I want them to feel excited. It might be confident. It might be assured. It might be ashamed. It might be sad. Whatever it is, you're giving them the gift of that emotion that they deserve to feel. About what? That's the information, right? That's the information. That information could be perhaps information. I want them to feel excited about my candidacy as a potential new hire, or excited about a new onboarding plan I've developed, or excited about a new product I've built. Whatever it is, it's key information. And then you say, in order to take action. You're enabling your audience to take action. So perhaps it is, I want my hiring manager to feel excited about my candidacy for this position in order to hire me. There you go. When this is written out, that's your North Star. That's your mission. That's your act of service to your audience. It's not about you, it's about them. And when you have that mindset shift, all of a sudden, you feel more empowered because you're giving a gift at the end of the day. That's why I love teaching, because I feel that I'm doing that every single day. Now, that's the critical one that I want you to embody. It's the fundamental mindset shift that will help you. And if nothing else, I want you to remember that. But I mentioned that there are 3 other things you can do. The second thing that I want you to focus on is, and it's all right. And it's all right. What do I mean by and it's all right? Well, I'm going to draw a graph. On the vertical axis is your adrenaline. It's your adrenaline levels. And on the horizontal axis is time. So what happens? Right before you're about to either present on stage or even have an important interview, your adrenaline is going to be pretty high. And then eventually, as you're getting ready to speak, it's going to be extra high right here. It's going to be at a peak. And here is the moment of inflection. One of 2 things can happen. Either it will immediately come down and it'll level out, or it'll get worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is what I call the oh my gosh. That's the oh my gosh effect. The moment you start to panic, the moment you start to freeze, your mouth begins to dry, your hands begin to get sweaty, you start to shake. Trust me, I've been there before. You all of a sudden are getting into this mental negative cycle of saying, oh my gosh, what am I doing up here? I am not sure what I'm about to say. And the more you have what we call NATs, or negative automatic thoughts, the more you have these get in your way, which is totally normal, the more your adrenaline levels start to spiral out of control. So how do you control that? That's where this comes in. That's where and it's all right comes in. Because when you tell yourself, and it's all right, you nod, you smile, you look at your interviewer, you look at your executive team, you look at your audience, locking eye contact with one person for 2 seconds, smiling and nodding your head, and then doing the same, looking at another person in the crowd, smiling, nodding your head. And you just say to yourself, and it's all right. What happens is what we call, this is the somatic feedback loop. Somatic feedback loop. What is that? That is where what you're saying in your mind is affecting your body. And how your body reacts is then affecting your mind. So it's this cycle that's happening over and over and over again between your mind and your body. So when you are telling yourself, and it's all right, your body will calm down as a result. That's the beauty of it. You have to say this with true acceptance. You can't just fake it. You have to nod your head, smile big, and it's all right. And feel that. What happens is eventually your adrenaline levels start to come down and you begin to be able to perform at your best. You're leveraging your adrenaline as energy that gives you that passion. Remember this, whenever you feel that nerve just compiling up inside of you, remember the somatic feedback loop. Remember this, and it's all right. Now, the third thing that I want to get into with you all is, how do we train our voice so that we sound more confident as a result? Those were mindset hacks, right? We talked about the gift, not expectation. We talked about, and it's all right. Now, the third thing that I want to focus on is power. To be confident when you speak, it requires you to speak with more projection, more volume. But the problem is, when you're too shy, you're not confident in yourself, you speak from your throat up. So you're not speaking with enough breath, enough air. Sometimes you're even gasping for air. And when you gasp for air, particularly in a high-stakes scenario, you suddenly start to lose confidence in yourself because you're literally not able to say what you want to. So what do? We practice the EIE. The EIE is a deep breathing exercise, and it stands for exhale, inhale, exhale. So let me demonstrate how this works. Each breath takes 30 to 45 full seconds. What you want to do starting off is to exhale as much air as you can through your nose to the point where your stomach begins to constrict, your rib cage begins to show, and you do this. And you hold that. You try to get as much air out as possible. Okay? Then you deeply inhale through your nose, exposing your rib cage and filling your lungs with air. That's the key. Fill your lungs with air. And then you hold it, and then you slowly exhale through your mouth. Now, I want you to do that 3 times in a row. When you use the EIE 3 times in a row, you suddenly have way more air in your lungs. You're able to project way more easily. Notice this. The moment you open your mouth and start to speak, whoa, there's power. It almost feels like something is pushing your voice out, pushing all that air out as much as possible. Keep doing this. This is one of the greatest ways that you can calm yourself too. It's a deep breathing exercise that literally forces your brain to not even think about those negative automatic thoughts because you're so focused on trying to get oxygen in after depriving it with the first exhale. So do this 3 straight times. And then finally, the last thing that you can do is what I call the ma. This is when your vocal cords feel tight. When you are not feeling as confident, all of a sudden your muscles start to constrict in places that you can't even see. So what we need to do is warm up our voice and try to get as much air projected outward as possible. So what do? You take your fingers. I take my thumb and my middle and my index finger right by my vocal cords, and I just say, and then I say, ah, and you want to say, ma, like 4 consecutive seconds. Okay, so it sounds like this. Ma. And your goal is to push out all the air so that it's hitting the front of your mouth as much as possible. You don't want to shake your voice like, ah. And you don't want to strain yourself by opening your mouth too wide. Ah, like straining your neck, or not opening your mouth enough like this. You want to have a nice balance in between. Now, if you can do those 4 things, I promise you, you will become more confident over time before you speak.